Hey, welcome to another episode. Well, not another, right? Like this is our relaunch. So, the first episode of Dividing Truth. I am your host, Lexi Johnson, and Dividing Truth is a weekly podcast of financial truths dedicated to helping women entrepreneurs and professionals become financially free in uncertain times. So, in other words, really, if you wanted to just put it into like 4 or 5 words, we want to help you think differently and master your money. And I'm so excited because today we have a really great friend of mine, a sister of mine, a colleague of mine in business as a guest. And I want to have her share her journey with you, specifically, about choosing entrepreneurship as a way to become free financially, right? So I'm going to do a very short introduction of her and then let her take it away and introduce herself and what she does. And then we're just going to have some conversation. All right. So I want you all to welcome to the show, Danita A. Scott. She is a leadership trainer and a personal development trainer. Did I get that right? I didn't say that right. Did I get that right?
So I am a leadership trainer and I help people develop online courses. I want you to make more money in a
Well,
fun
I was
way.
gonna say that. Yes.
Uh-huh.
I was definitely gonna say the online course thing, but I was like, I know she had personal something in there.
Listen,
So
just like all women, I do a bunch of stuff. So let's simplify it to like, let's just have some fun doing what we've been called to do.
right. So I'm gonna say a little bit more about herself in just a second, but I want to remind you all, hey, make sure that you are sharing this out with everyone. Invite people to the podcast, or if you're watching us via Facebook or YouTube or something like that, invite people to the broadcast. Share this out with people, and you can go and you can subscribe at www.radiowaveforyou.com, www.radiowaveforyou.com. You can also download the Radio Wave app in your Google Play Store, your Apple Store, your Android Store, whatever the case may be. But we thank you all for joining us today. So, Danita, share with everybody again what it is that you do, and then you can go ahead and lead right into your story about, I guess, just becoming a business owner. I think my first question after you introduce yourself is, did you, when you started your business, was it with the intent of becoming financially free? So,
So I'm super excited to be on your podcast, Lex. Thank you so much for inviting me. So when I'm gonna summarize in all that I do. I've tried a lot of things, but when I allowed God to be the leader of my business, I saw such a huge difference. And so I can say that I'm a woman led by God and I have a Holy Spirit inspired business. I just listen, I pray, I do the part that I know, I fail a lot, and I'm not afraid to do so. So my primary goal is I am a speaker and I'm a leadership trainer. So I do corporate leadership training. And I also have a business where I help entrepreneurs of faith create powerful and profitable online courses. And when I started my business, my original intention was not financial freedom. I was hoping like just to, get enough so like I didn't have to like work at Ross dress for less. Like I already had like some powerful, careers or whatever. But I was just like, listen, guy, I'm gonna start this thing. And I just hope I, don't have to go back and work in retail. Like that was my only goal. And when I started, I really just didn't even know like it was possible to be financially free through your own business. Like I thought you always had to work for someone else. I thought I always had to consider someone else. And I'm not telling your entrepreneurs who still work full time for somebody else to quit. Listen, you need to honor the voice of God in your life. You need to do what you've been called to do, but you don't need to think that the only way God can bless you is through one stream. He always wants you to have at least 7 streams of income so that you could make financially free choices. You don't have to make choices of this is my only way to make income and produce in my business. He wants you to have choices. So I help people develop those choices through online courses.
that is so awesome. And you touched on one of a subject that I'm very passionate about, which is about having different streams of income. And particularly for those of you who are, new as entrepreneurs, or you're thinking about entrepreneurship, Danita is right. It's not for everybody to just, leave the job, right? Right away. That's not for everybody because entrepreneurship is definitely a journey, has a lot of ups, has a lot of downs. And so you have to be mentally, tough in entrepreneurship. And so, we are always advising, I'm in alignment with her. We're saying, hey, don't just jump out there, make a plan, execute that plan, and then move towards that goal. But you were talking about, several streams of income. And so what I was saying is that, you may want to hold on to that 9 to 5 for a little bit. That's what we call linear income, where you actually have to show up and make the money, right? And then, as you're doing your side hustle, which may later become your full-time hustle, which is all good. Even within that, you want different income streams. So you want to make sure you have linear, you have passive, you have windfall, you have all these different types. But I'm very passionate about that, so I wanted to talk about that for just a second. So, Danita, talk with us about that journey, that whole I just quit my job. Tell us a little bit more about that and how you handled the ups and downs.
So I remember specifically when I was about 22 years old and I lived in my first apartment in Atlanta, and it was super nice, right? It was like that apartment where you be like, oh, I feel like I made it. And when I made it, I was like, oh, my whole paycheck is going towards rent. But it was really nice. Like it was so nice that my next door neighbor was like a broadcaster, or like a news anchor. Like it was like that. Like I could look out and be like, oh, that's it. She's on TV, and like I'm living next door to her, so I felt like extra special. But what I learned in that was, I remember I was listening to someone talking. They talked about streams of income, and I was like, "How do you get a stream? What is a stream of income?" And I remember when I started my business, and I'll tell you about how I started it. I remember when I started my business, I was like, "Well, how can I make this be more than what I see?" And what is so cool about entrepreneurship is that you have the choice, whether you're working for someone full time or not, to be able to create different ways that you can get paid from the same thing that you already know how to do. So how I got into entrepreneurship was, I was working for an organization. I loved my job. I thought it was really great. I have nothing but good things to say about my bosses and my managers, and I learned so much from different people while I was working there. But while I was working at this job, while I was being faithful, I knew that God had called me to something else. And what I saw in that particular organization was that we got new leadership about every 2 years. So since I've been there for about 6 years at the time. So I've been through about 4 leaders. And I knew we was about to get a fifth one. And I was like, I can't do it. I just can't. I can't. I can't go through this again. By the time you understand the job, understand the mechanics of the job, then you are going to find something else. That's what's going to happen. And a lot of us are in cycles like that, where we can predict the future. One day, one of my friends called me and I was frustrated about something. And she was like, well, what's the problem? I was like, same problem, brand new day. And I was tired of saying that. I was tired of saying my life looks like the same reflection every single day of the exact same problems. I'm recurring facing that same thing. And I asked myself, God, if I really believe you, if I really believe that faith is now, if I really believe that is the title deed of what I expect, why should I keep expecting the same thing over and over again? So when my manager put in her notice, I decided to put mine in too. And it happened to be my birthday. So I quit my job for my birthday without a plan. I'm telling your audience, don't do that. Okay. If you listen to everything else I'm saying, unless the Holy Spirit tells you, do not do that. When you quit your job, you need to have a plan. Okay.
Absolutely.
But I was incredibly grateful because I had a place where I could reduce all my expenses. So I packed up my beautiful little Atlanta apartment. I sold everything that I didn't need, and I went home and I started over and said, God, if I could start my life over from what I know now, what do you want from me? And that's how the business got started.
Wow, 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 wow. So my next question then, what has been the most difficult problem that you've had to overcome?
In the business. One of the most difficult problems is not having no money. Okay. Like I always felt like, I'm like, God, if you call me, where is this money? I felt so frustrated. I remember specifically in December of 2017, I was praying about December of 2018. I was like, God, show me the future. Like, I need to know what's going to happen because I'm about to go work for Dress for Less. Like, that's my next destination. I'm about to put my application in, put my little blue vest on, I'm be swiping them items.
Yes.
Like, I'm done with this entrepreneurship thing.
Okay.
Like, I have a master's degree. All this stuff. But I'm done trying to figure this thing out. And I remember the Lord spoke to me. He's like, I'm really proud of you. I said, for what? For this lack of money? For this frustration? What you proud of? Because I need specifics.
Right.
and I think the biggest challenge is really deciding that even though I didn't see it, that I already had it. And knowing
Yeah.
already had it, operating from the standpoint of being wise when I receive money, understanding what to do with it, not hoarding it, not even being afraid of it, because I spent my life being afraid of money. I'm telling you, even when in our family, like the overall thought is even when you had money, it was a fear of one day you might not have it. So you'd be afraid, to do something with it. And so getting over that and knowing that money was always here and that it's always going to be here, whether I'm alive and breathing or not. So for me to receive it and me to think of it like a servant and not a master was the biggest thing I had to get over, changing my money mindset.
That is excellent because, any of you, especially those of you who are watching, and if you followed me for any period of time, that I say mindset is everything. Even when it comes to mastering your money, right? Managing your money, any of that, mindset is everything. I'm always telling people it has little to do. I can teach you strategies. I can teach you, how money works and all that stuff, but the mindset is really what dictates whether or not you're going to have an abundance of it and whether or not you're going to be, successful with it, right? And continue to, to grow your money so it gets to a place where it's working for you. So, Danita, talk to us about how you made that transition from, a mindset, an unhealthy mindset, if you will, to a healthy mindset towards money. What did you do? What were some practical things that you did that that got you to the place where you truly believe money is everywhere?
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the things that you did?
There's 3 things I did that I would highly recommend. Number 1, I actually changed my circle, and I didn't get rid of any friends that I loved, but I got around people who had bigger dreams, bigger visions, and went for what God called them to have, and not say, well, I don't have it, or I don't know how to do it, and that stopped them. So that's the first thing that was super helpful. So then when I would get stuck and I would say, hey guys, I am stuck. Like, I'm the first person, I'll be raised by head. Listen, I need help. I'm not good today. And to say, here is where I'm thinking, and to be able to have a different shift there. The second thing is I constantly read books about money, how it works, how to think of it, how to receive it, and really change the fact that I already have all that I need. All that I need is already here. God wouldn't have sent me to this planet in order to experience life if what I needed wasn't present here. Like there is no way that I would be here if it wasn't present. And then the third thing I think that is absolutely critical is to watch what comes out of right here. Right here. Because whatever you say, that's what you're going to have. So I would stop saying I don't have the money. I would say I'm going to locate what I need. There's more than enough. They're like, I'm just going to have it. And I would expect my faith to manifest right now. And I know that sounds crazy because we've been taught to be patient, but I literally would expect everything to manifest right now. I'd be like, God, send it today, and upping that expectancy allowed him to show me favor. I expected for a debt that was $1,100 to be eliminated in a week. It took a month. And last week, I confessed, I said, this is mine. I'm having it by Saturday. It came today. Do you think I cared that it came on Saturday or today? No, I don't care.
Right.
It's here. But when we have now faith expectations, we approach problems differently.
Absolutely. I was having a conversation with a friend a couple of days ago, and it's so funny that we're talking about these words about expecting and things like that because we were talking about the really watching what you say. Like sometimes we can say, especially in the faith community, oh, we expect unexpected blessings, and it's like, no, not unexpected, expected. God wants us to have an expectation. You know what I'm saying? God says that, He is able This is who he is to us. He, there's an expectation, right? And I'm thinking about, my 4-year-old and thinking about all my children, and how even the older ones, when they were little, like when they ask you for things, they ask it expectantly. They don't ask like, well, if like that, those words don't even, they're not even in their vocabulary. It's just like, this is what I want. And then they just expect for you to produce it, right? And so we have to be the same way with God, particularly, I mean, in any area, but because the show is about money, particularly in the area of money, I think sometimes we're very timid about asking God, to bless us in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite verses of scripture, because I know that your audience also applies faith to what they're believing God for, is that we go to the throne of grace boldly confessing. Like,
Yeah.
we don't confess like, God, if please, it would be nice if you could. No, man, listen. Listen, you're my partner, you're my friend, you sent me down here, I have to accomplish this stuff. Listen, this is what I need. With confidence and boldness, and God loves for us to approach his throne of grace boldly, knowing that he's willing and able to help, and that he's not trying to sit you on the sidelines and hope for one day, someday. He's trying to help you exasperate the things that are in your heart, and to really understand that the desires, your true desires, they come from him. So he wants to fulfill them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we'll come to some more money questions in a minute, but who inspires you in business?
Ah, that's such a long list. Like, it totally is. Like, so I'm trying to narrow it down. Let me go to my top 5 people. So my number one person that I admire in business is a physical person that we can see on this planet. One of them is Myleik Teal, the founder of Curlbox. I love her story. I love how she founded her business. I love how she's been bold in what she does. And so she is a woman that I absolutely admire in business. Second person that comes to mind is Gwen Jameer. She is the first African-American woman to hold a patent for a natural hair care product. And I love her story. I think she's so powerful. She started her business after being divorced with, like, I think $30. And so that was so, so powerful to me. Number 3 is my friend Dee Edwards. I love her story. She is a multiple stream entrepreneur. She's a Christian. She's a pastor. But what her real core value is in executing the will of God, no matter what, and quickly. Number 4 would be Lexi Jones. And the reason why I totally admire Lexi Jones, listen, this is not an accident. This is my list. Number 4 is Lexi Jones. And the reason why I admire you specifically is because every circumstance would have told you, based on your life, that you should not be teaching people how to do the impossible with their finances. Your circumstances would have said, you've been divorced, all these other things, but you never let your circumstance define who you are. You defined it based on the word of God, and you executed what God called you to do. And you didn't sit on the sidelines of your faith waiting for God. You went up and did what he's called you to do, to dominate and to take authority over your life. And then my number 5 person, but the person is not someone we can physically see, is really understanding the strategies of Jesus, because he was such an amazing entrepreneur. And so many times we don't think of him as an entrepreneur, but how you start a church, you ain't got no building, you ain't got no followers, you take people off their jobs and say, come follow me. That's an entrepreneurial spirit. That's the spirit of, I have been called to do something, and I know I need a team. So I'm going to go and call my team in. No matter what you think is a team, I'm going in. And I love that so much. And it keeps me inspired to think of innovative strategies to grow and do what God's called me to do.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an amazing list. That made the list. I'm so humbled. Oh my God. Was not even expecting that. Listen, and particularly following the strategies of Jesus. And I don't think we give Christ enough credit when it comes to, business ownership and, growing, a business and marketing. And I'm gonna tell you, anytime I have a question about, man, I'm kind of stuck, in terms of marketing, or I'm kind of stuck in terms of monetizing, or let me tell you, the Bible is the first place that I go to, because there's so many examples. Definitely there's Christ, who's the ultimate. There's so many other biblical examples, of business, in the Bible. And I don't think we go to it enough. I don't think it just doesn't dawn on us maybe to really go to the Bible as a tool, for business. So that is absolutely amazing. So listen, everyone, we're here. We're chatting with Danita A. Scott, and she is an amazing entrepreneur. She really teaches people, and she's going to talk more about this a little later in our conversation. But she teaches people how to monetize their gift through online courses. And I'm going to tell you the results that she has been able to get, and I'm going to have her speak on this a little later, but the results that she's been able to get for her clients. I mean, we're talking about people making thousands of dollars in a week's time, in a couple weeks' time. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you're talking about right now, you know? And so it's amazing. And when you hear from the people who have the pleasure of being taught by her, you know, they are always raving about, you know, how amazing she is. And not just the fact that, you know, she's able to help them monetize, but just even helping them be able to see who they are in Christ and what Christ is calling them to do. So she's amazing and she's powerful like that. I'm gonna have her talk about that in a little bit. But I want to remind you all, please make sure that you're sharing, inviting people to the broadcast. You can go to our website, www.radiowaveforyou.com, and click on podcasts or click on shows. Either one will get you there. Click on Dividing Truth. We want you to subscribe. We want you to follow the show so that you too can learn how to be financially free, right? And do that through your personal or your business finances. And we also have a Facebook group for our listeners. So you can go on Facebook and you can search Dividing Truth, or you can simply click on the link that you see before you. But we have a Facebook group, and all of the guests, the amazing guests that I will have on the show, they'll be part of that group. And so the amazing part about being part of that group is that the discussion can continue, right? Because this podcast is only 45 minutes, right? But the discussion can continue. We can continue to ask questions and continue to sharpen one another in that group. So, Danita, my next question for you, because one of the conversations that we've been at, because we're good friends and we've been able to have many conversations, but there was a point on your journey in entrepreneurship where you decided, okay, listen, I've got, you know, debt in my personal finances. I want to get rid of this. You know what I'm saying? And so you decided to leverage your business to help you, you know, get free from debt. So talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, so it was a really scary decision because when you work as a business owner and your source of income is really from you, it can be up and down, right? So you could have a really great month and then you could have, not so good month, and you could be up and down. So even when you're trying to pay off debt, it can make you feel a little vulnerable because when you work at a job, every 2 weeks I'm gonna make this or whatever. Even if you make bonuses or whatever, you have an idea of where to start. When you start in entrepreneurship, you'd be like, okay, so I got $8 and a $7 bill. What am I do? Can I pay on that? Can I get 3 payments of $1.54? You know what I'm saying?
Fact.
Put that one up. I'm gonna split it up. Listen, I got you today, tomorrow, and the next day, $1.54. Right? That's still not $7 you need. I know, but that's not the point. So it's a different way of managing, and it can easily go to the part of where you feel like you may need to hoard. Right? You feel like everything I have, I really have to hold on to it because I don't know when the next storm is coming or how it will be shaped or what is going to happen to my business and when am I going to it's a place until you really have to believe God and you have to trust, because even when you have systems of guaranteed income, somebody's supposed to pay me. If their car goes out, who they gonna choose me over the car? Nah, they're gonna choose their car. And that's just the nature, and it's a trust game. And so when I decided to eliminate debt, it was really scary because it's still in position where my business was still growing. And then I had money, but I'm like, don't really want to spend my money. I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? So I always felt really scary to go after the will of God, just to really know that I'm supposed to be free. But one of the things that's very helpful is deciding that you're free in the first place.
Mm.
And so I had to make the decision that I am already free. Now I'm going to be free. Now, one day, someday, Jesus, like I'm free. And I know that that freedom's in the will of God. It's not maybe. You can't really even do what you've been called to do as long as you're in the type of debt that I was in, which was credit card debt. You cannot do what you've been called to do if, like, you know, on a big level, owing 24% of $1,000. So that means every time you make a payment, it didn't even make a dent. I remember I had this one card, and I love to tell the story of this card. My payment was $54 a month. The interest was $44 a month. So I'm paying $10 every month. You know what I'm saying? But if you look at that over a year, it looks like $500, but really I just made someone else rich. So I had to make a decision that someone else doesn't get rich before me. And so even if that means that I have to do what I have to do, like I was willing to do whatever, like honestly, whatever. I drove for Uber, I ran my business, I did contract training, like whatever I have to do, because I needed freedom more than I needed convenience. And when you make that decision that I'm going to be free, and this doesn't have to be convenient for me. Is it embarrassing, you know, in your late 30s to be babysitting for people? But I'm about to do this thing because what I'm not going to do is one day hope for freedom. And let me tell you, babysitting is a brilliant way to get free, because once the baby goes to bed, you can still work on the business. So just, you have to think about different ways and decide that freedom is more important than your feelings. Is it embarrassing in your late 30s to live with your mama? Absolutely. But when you're getting free, you have to take radical steps for freedom and not decide that this radical step is not worth it. And so I had to just make a decision. Now, I still have 2 cards that I'm paying off. I'm towards the end of that, but I've been able to pay over $20,000 worth of debt in the last 3 years and still work and build my business, which is a blessing.
That is simply amazing. That's amazing. And the key thing that you said was, that you have to make a decision. Make a decision when I'm already free. Number two, that I'm just going to do whatever I have to. I think that many of us spend too much time thinking about what other people are going to think about me, if I decide to do this, or what other people will think about me if I decide to do that. And, you just, you what do you want? You know what I'm saying? You want to be free, like you're saying, you want to be free, or you just want to, be convenient and be over here, because people are thinking, oh, I want them to think the right things about me. It's like, what do you want more? Right. And I am all for, doing whatever you have to do within the law. Within the law, right? I need to make sure I say that, to become debt free, because one of the things that that I did, and I know people would be like, you're crazy, why would you do that? I sold my house. I sold my house. You know what I'm saying? And I know in this country, and in our communities, we have these attachments, these emotional attachments that, this is our house and we're going to have this forever. And da, 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 but I just adopted this attitude. Like, if I'm not going to monetize it, then it needs to go. You know what I'm saying? If it's not going to be monetized, it needs to go. And so I'm all for, radical moves. I tell people, do what you have to do. Like, so you got to drive Uber, you got to work, whatever it is. Walmart, I don't know, whatever it is, as long as it's helping you to accomplish the goal of becoming debt free, and definitely freeing yourself from what other people are going to think. Because here's the thing: in the 3 years that it's taking you, Danita, to get where you are, maybe you have a few more months left or whatever, but just that little bit of time, and now you're free forever. And now, really, what will people think about you? Right? They will really be like, oh my gosh. I want her life. Look at her. She's traveling to Spain, and she's doing this and she's doing that. In fact, I want you to share a little bit about that, being able to, travel, or any other thing that you've been able to do because you made that decision.
Absolutely. So this year for my birthday, I decided to go to Spain for my birthday. And it was one of the best restorative trips. It was right before COVID hit. So it was like the very end of February, beginning of March is when I went. And it was so amazing. And the most freedom part was that I spent zero credit card debt. Like, so I didn't owe nobody after the vacation. And I was able to do it from things that I loved. I was able to take this gift that God has given me to be able to help people and then to be able to have fun with it. So I always tell business owners, listen, trust me. Do not do your passion first, right? If you do your passion, sometimes people don't understand your passion. Use some skills that God has given you that are producible, duplicatable, and let those skills be maximized so that you can then do your passions. One of my passions is traveling for fun. It is so fun to travel and not have an agenda and not be tied to my computer and not trying to check on 1,000 things. And so because I was able to monetize my gifts, then God allows me to do your passion. And a lot of your audience has major monetizable gifts. You're ignoring that so you can start some orphanages somewhere else where you don't live. Listen, you better sell them skills first, then start the orphanage later.
That's right. Right. Absolutely. So, is speaking of selling the skills first, right? I want you to talk now a little bit about, 'cause as we mentioned a couple of times in this show, we talked about you being able to teach people how to do their online courses, right? And so you take people, you help people realize what they're gifted at and how to, put it in a course and sell it. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I really love being able to help people identify a skill and then be able to market that skill so that it can help them earn income. I totally believe courses is kind of like a new business card, right? It's like, oh, it's like being able to say, here's how I can take my skill and make money from it over and over again. So I kind of fell into this business. It was not intentional. I remember I was teaching a course and I was putting together like the material for it, and it was very easy for me. And I was like, what if I could just teach people this? But I looked on the site that I used at the time and they had the instructions right there. I was like, well, probably nobody wants this because the instructions right here. Nobody was reading them instructions. They were already there. The steps was listed. Do this, do that, then do that. And nobody was doing it. I was like, well, maybe I could just teach two people. And so I decided
Yeah.
my first course, listen, y'all should have took my first course. My first course was $200. $200. And I helped my first client make $10,000 in 7 days. I was like, oh, I know what I'm doing. I was like, I know what I'm doing. And she paid me $200 to learn how to make 10 in 7 days. Like 7 months, 7 days. And I was just like, oh, okay. And so at the time, I was like, this is just so exciting. I was so excited just to provide results. And in providing those results, I was able to help people to be able to take an idea that they had right here in their mind and to see that idea manifest. And to me, that is the will of God for every entrepreneur, is to be able to take something that was right here and then to see it in reality.
Oh my goodness. I want to pause for a minute and talk about that, because you say, okay, you initially charged $200, right? And then saw that people can get a result of $10,000 or more or whatever. So talk about that hope, because one of the things that we struggle with as entrepreneurs, we want to monetize, right? And we want to monetize well, but then our pricing doesn't necessarily match, um, being able to monetize well, or being able to, or even just to provide, for some of the basic things that we provide for. So you know, how did you overcome, get over that hump of like, I need to charge more for my results?
Yeah, so it took a while, honestly, because I felt like what I was doing was so easy that if people just like listened to me for free, they could just do it. But it wasn't what you knew, is how you execute. And you can give people instructions and they could even have the ingredients, but if they don't take action, and I realized that what people hire me for is for them to take action and have accountability for the results that they expect to receive. And so instead of looking at myself as the answer, I really am the support for your answer. Like, you already have the answer. I'm supporting you executing your answer. And once I did that, it was easier to say, this is what it's worth. And also, pro tip, do some market research. I looked at my biggest competitor. And what she charged for the same thing that I teach, the same method, and it was $2,000. And I'm sitting up here charging 200. Listen, I'm in the wrong. I'm hustling backwards, girl.
Yes.
So I just decided to say, at least I could charge half. Like if I can help somebody make $10,000 in 7 days, then most certainly I can charge half of what this person is charging. That was my first big leap. And then I've been able to take other leaps to say, when people call me now, this is what it costs to work with me. This is the payment plans, and this is how you sign up. Are you interested? Are you ready to change? Are you ready to keep talking about the same thing over and over again?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, listen, if you like us, we understand that business, that entrepreneurship is a path to freedom, financial freedom, time freedom, all of that. But particularly, we're talking about financial freedom. If you understand that, then you got to understand how to, price your things so that you can become free, right? You don't leave your 9 to 5 to go work another 9 to 5 the rest of your life. Like it may start out that way. You got to put a lot of hours into your work, but I don't know. It's like who leaves a 9 to 5 to come in and just be, a slave to your own business. No, that's not the case, right? We want to use it as a way to become financially free. So listen, Danita, I want you to share with everybody again a little bit about your what you offer to people, how you help people, and then you have a freebie for our listeners. So we're going to share that too. But again, share with everybody how you serve, what it is that you do, how can people contact you, all of that great stuff.
Absolutely. So, what I love to do is help people with 4 C's and 1 L. So, the 4 C's that I help them with is, first of all, getting clear on your idea and your talents that can be monetizable. Not the things you want to do, but like what gift can we take to go make some money? And then number 2 is how do we build a community around the person who needs to hear your solution to your problem that you've identified. Then the next step we want to do is want to now focus on sales, which is cash. That's the third C. How do we cash out our idea? How do we get sales before we create any product, any service, anything? Because I know as an entrepreneur of faith, if you sell it, then you'll find a way to create it. But if you create it, you may not find a way to sell it. So I know as an entrepreneur of faith, if you go out there and pre-sell $5,000 worth of goods, you are going to find a way to produce those goods. But if you go out and create $5,000 worth of goods, someone may not want it. So we focus on sales and marketing. And then the last C is then we create content that makes that audience feel like, man, this is the best investment I could have ever made in myself. And so we want the content to support that. And then the last thing is we teach the technical part, the launch skills. I really want my entrepreneurs to know that it is so easy. Technology has been literally set to your advantage. It is the simplest thing. The easiest part of creating your course is the tech. Like there's nothing easier than that. The hardest part is nailing your message and creating a community around it that wants to hear it. That's really, really hard. But the monetization, it's something you literally shouldn't even think about. Like it's the easiest part. So I teach it last because I want people to be clear and confident on who they're talking to, what they need, and then how to serve them. Because you can easily understand the technology. And I want you to feel that way, feel confident. So one of the ways that I help people is I have a free giveaway, which leads you to learn more about the products and services that we have. We have done with you services, so where you can work with me directly. Then we have done for you services, which is the most premium level. And then we have a DIY level where you're like, you know what? I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to learn this. I'm going to do this. And on the DIY level, I have literally seen people listen to a live and go make $1,500. I was talking to someone one day and I was saying, hey, do this to help your audience. And then within 20 minutes, they made $1,500. You know why? Because that's a mindset. That's not technology or skills. That's deciding that I'm going to make that difference. I'm going to make that impact. And God's already blessed me and favored me with everything that I need. And so I want your audience to know they already have everything that they need.
Absolutely. You guys heard that? Write it down. Repeat it to yourself every day, 20 times a day if you have to. You already have everything that you need. When God saw fit that you were going to be part of this earth, He had already put in you before you even came to this earth. He had already put in you everything that you need. That's amazing. So, Danita, again, share with, well, not again. but you have a freebie for the listeners. So talk
Yeah.
with them about the freebie.
Yes, yes, yes. So I have a book of my favorite tools and the steps that you need to think about while you're launching your course. And the thing is, it's like this is the right time. Like virtual learning is hotter than ever. And it is the way that so many of us are going to learn. I really think that for entrepreneurs of faith, that this has been a blessing to reset. And that if you're not in that game, that you need to get into it. And if you're in it and it's not as strong as you desire, we need to up your strength because we're not going to sit on the sidelines anymore. So how you access this freebie is going to www.l like love yc for profit.online. So LYC for profit.online, and that will get you straight to the giveaway. And it will give you a chance to understand what tools and techniques that you need. I also sell a DIY course that is like super valuable and like every single step. And I've seen people take the DIY course and like just accelerate their progress. And so when you get the freebie, it gives you information about how to get the DIY course so that you can go forward. And if you know you need custom help, you're like, listen, Danita, I get it, but I just need you to do it. Then you can directly contact me. And that one link will get you all the things that you need. So it gets you the free book, and then it tells you about other ways you can follow me and get on your journey and create that course and finally do it. Not think about it, not hope about it, not pray for it, but do it so you can see the manifestation of God.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. So you guys don't miss out on this. All of you listening, all of you need to go to the link. You need to get the freebie, okay? But then those of you who are really trying to monetize your business, you're trying to, you want to be financially free, you wanted your business to work for you. Let me tell you, online courses is it's definitely one of the streams that you want to highly consider, because the one thing that I love about what you can do with online courses, Danita, is exactly what you have done. You can make it a couple of different types of income streams, right? It can be linear, where you are actually showing up. And I like Danita, that needs to be like your premium. If you got to come and be there and spend spend time there or whatever, then it can be, your premium, but that's linear because you're showing up. But it also can be passive because she's got this DIY component, right? That she's put together. She did a little bit of work up front, but that is set, and that can run, right? And people can come and get what they need and, have success and all of that. But you didn't have to actually be there, right? So that's what I love about online courses is its versatility, that you can use it to leverage different types of income streams. So Danita, one more time about the freebie and anything else you want to say.
Yes. So the thing that I want your audience to realize is that you can take action. I was hanging out with one of my friends this weekend, and she created a few months ago a $10 course, $10 for information that's already listed publicly on the internet, right? But people needed to learn from her. That $10 course has made thousands of dollars. Your course doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It doesn't have to be, super fancy. It can be really basic information that someone doesn't get and know how to apply. There's a difference between getting information and applying information. And if you're helping people to get a result, like you deserve to be compensated for helping people get a result. I was talking to one of my clients earlier today, and she was like, yeah, I helped this lady become an Amazon bestseller 5 times. What? I was like, are you monetizing that? No. Why are you giving this away for free? People get paid for that same thing every single day. And if all you did was, hey, let me tell you 5 steps to being a bestseller in 5 days, like that is very valuable. And you don't have to charge a lot. Or you can say, you know what, I'm premium, baby. listen, I'm a premium experience, and it costs, $10,000 to work with me. Either way can get you rich, but just choose a path and do it. Don't overthink it. Do what God's called you to do.
Amazing. Danita, thank you so much for coming and sharing your time with me, because I know that you're very busy. Thank you so much for taking time out to be on the podcast today. Thank you so much for being so generous to give our audience a freebie and all of the knowledge, the wealth of knowledge that you dropped today. I promise you guys, I hope that you had your notebooks with you. And if you did not, you're going to have to go all the way back and listen to it all the way again. Make sure you have a notebook in your hand so that you can write down these truths that Danita shared with you today. And so this has been our first episode I keep saying another. Our first episode of Dividing Truth. All right. We and every week we're coming to you with financial truths that are dedicated to helping you, okay, to helping you as an entrepreneur and a professional become financially free, especially in these uncertain times. All right. Think differently, master your money. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.